What's your cash on hand? What's available? You said you had something X amount in savings, and then what else do you have?
I've got about 50K in savings.
And for the 4 months, everything included, it comes out to just 16,000.
I was thinking it was going to be somewhere like around, 2 to 5K. 16K is quite a bit to invest.
I don't even think the 16K is the biggest issue. I think you want to get your feet wet, see if it works. If it works, then you're kind of fine to go from there. Is that accurate?
Hey, how's it going, man? It's
Hey, how are you?
doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. It's been a little bit busy of a day, but I can't complain. It kind of keeps everything moving and flowing. But oh, and also I was gonna say, I'm not sure. I know Tanner, and a couple of my coworkers, they're doing Tanner's doing some shadowing, just making sure we're, taking care of people. Oh, he's actually hopping in right now. So I was gonna say you might have seen him come on.
I said the big man himself.
Dude,
Yeah.
what's up?
What's up, man? How are you?
All right, I'm gonna let someone run it, but I'm here, and so I'll be listening the whole time. So excited to meet you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so I was gonna say I was looking at your application. I saw some of the notes you put down. Before we dive in, are you pretty familiar with us? Like followed content for a while, seen a lot of our ads, or more on like the newer side?
No, not familiar at all, honestly. I just saw it kind of scrolling through Instagram. I've been in the fitness industry for about 6 years now. So, I get every fitness ad you can think of on Instagram. And I saw one of the ads, I think that Tanner was on there. So I
Okay.
was just like, hey, let's check it out and see what it's about.
Okay, no worries. Well, yeah, no, in that case, like I said, I saw, kind of the notes you put down in the application. The whole goal in this call is just to kind of see like, where you're at, ultimately where you want to be and just like what you're struggling with and how we can, get there and like help, just kind of like iron things out for you. And I did see on the application you put a month or more because of the other job and, I'm guessing like what you're doing with the in-person. That's completely okay. If we go through everything, you love it, you're like, hey, this is a fit, and at least feel like 50% or more certain that this is something you possibly want to do. Typically, we ask for a refundable deposit just so we know, hey, you're serious, we're serious, and we're not like wasting time. Is that doable if we get to the end and everything makes sense for you?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I guess like in that case, just kind of starting from the top because it says you have 20 online clients. Are these already like high ticket clients and just kind of wanting to scale up, or are these like more like lower ticket or maybe clients like kind of that you've got in your area, just like with the gym, the in-person stuff?
Yeah, so I guess the first thing is it depends on what you guys deem as high ticket. So I've got a mix, I would say. So I started the online thing right before COVID.
Gotcha.
I was in bachelor's, or I was getting my undergrad at the time. About to go into grad school, so I was just starting out. So I mean, starting people off as dirt cheap. It's like, hey, yeah, I'll do it for you for $50 a month. Something
Okay.
something stupid cheap. So I have a few of those grandfathered in that have been with me for 5 years now. But now I've definitely upped my prices. So if anybody's going to join with me now, I sent Tanner the pricing tiers that I have depending on kind of which package you want. And those range from 175 all the way up to 305 every 4 weeks is how we do our billing. But I don't have, very many of those higher ticket, like in the 305 range, because I just started that. And I'm kind of at a point where, I have my online stuff. I'm the fitness director at a gym. And I'm, a new dad with a 6 month old at home. And I just had rotator cuff surgery. But yeah, with the online, I just want to see if it's potential to turn that into like a full-time thing. That way, I mean, everybody wants to work from home, work from home and be able to scale the business to where you're not doing all the work all the time.
Gotcha. Okay. And I guess like because it seems like putting like more attention on the online side, is it like with the kid you mentioned like the time aspect, is that kind of why like just having the son want more time with the like away from the gym and kind of getting out of the like having to go with the in-person?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, if you look at like I looked at a study yesterday and like the overall revenue from in-person gyms since COVID has just been totally stagnant.
Yeah.
And it's been that way since. So it kind of seems like if that trajectory continues, the in-person gym setting really isn't going to grow. The only thing that has grown since COVID is the online thing. Now, I told Tanner I'm kind of like in a reverse situation. I started off with the online thing, and then got into the in-person setting, but I kept my online thing going.
Okay.
But I pretty much work for the gym full time Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturdays, and I do all my online programming on the weekends. So it normally takes me about a day to get through all 20 people, but I'm like, man, if I can do 20 people in a day, imagine if that was, full scale, what it could actually turn into. Um, Now, I don't want to be at the computer 8 hours a day for 5, 6 days a week. But for if people are willing to pay for it, and it doesn't take me that much time, and I'm able to actually provide for my family and stay home with my son at the same time. And then, maybe eventually, get my wife to where she doesn't have to work anymore. Like that's the ultimate goal.
Okay. Nice. So retire the wife, time back with the family. I guess like with the online side, has this been something you've been trying to scale out for a while and just haven't like got to the level where you could focus on it full time, or is it kind of more recent just with the, obviously the new kid and everything?
No, honestly, all of the, like I told Tanner, it's all been word of mouth. Like all of my
Okay.
online clients have been word of mouth. I really haven't tried to grow it that much. If somebody's interested at our gym, I'll do it for them. But it's getting to where, my time is very, very thin and I'm having to exchange my time for money. And you can't really scale it anymore.
Yeah.
So I've not really tried to market it whatsoever.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was gonna ask, does that put you in a tough position just trying to, because I know like obviously gym takes a ton of time and then growing the business and then the family. I guess like where do you like, are you like 12, 13 hours a day, so to speak?
Um, at the gym, I'm if you're a fitness director, I don't know if you guys have done anything like that before in person, but it's pretty much just putting out fires all day. I'm only at the gym for about 8 hours a day, but that doesn't mean I'm not doing stuff on the computer or answering text messages and emails and stuff like that when I'm at home as well. So I just kind of do what I can on the weekends for the online thing. The online thing has been very consistent for me, and it's only grown in revenue, but not like, it hasn't like taken off. But I also haven't put a ton of time into it to market and take off either. All the time has really been in the nitty gritty programming aspect of it.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yes, there's definitely a lot on the plate.
Okay. And I guess like just kind of thinking about the online, where do you feel like has been, I guess, like the biggest struggle, or where would you be looking for the most help from a company like us? Is it more like maybe sales marketing, kind of getting more high ticket clients, or maybe even a little bit of everything, just kind of like a roadmap or a game plan to follow?
Yes, good question. So I was talking with Tanner, and I think the biggest issue for me, one is definitely sales, learning more about the sales and automations and things like that. Like I watched the video you guys had, um, and reaching out to leads, things like that. We do that at our gym now. And I've done it before, but it's through different systems. And I came from like exercise science background, exercise physiology. So I'm much more versed in the knowledge on that side compared to like the sales side and marketing side of things. So I would say that. And then also the issue with like my current online thing is that it's hard to scale because everybody's program is customized. And if you've ever like done an online thing, unless like it's totally to where they're just following the program and you don't change it, you have clients messaging you all the time, hey, I'm going to be out of town next week, I only have access to this and this, and then the week after that I got to do this and this, I'm going to be off this day. So it's like you'll do the work, but then you'll have to do it again because they have fluctuations and changes in their schedule. So it's like, okay, from my perspective, it's like, hey, I'll do that for you, but it needs to be like like you guys are saying, a high ticket price. And it's
Yeah.
like, I don't really know if people are willing to pay that high ticket price, even though they're getting a really, really high level of service. So on the other hand, it's like, okay, well, then let me attack the other end of the spectrum. Well, I'm not going to make it customized. It's like, hey, you kind of fit this avatar, so you should do this generic program. But then now you're talking about like a lower price point offer and trying to attract the masses. And all of mine has really just been word of mouth. So I didn't really think that the masses were going to attract. And then you're also getting to, well, if you create this generic program to where I can just hit copy and paste to the next person, well, this person may not have a barbell. Maybe they only have dumbbells, or maybe they only have access to X amount of equipment at their gym. So then it's like, you kind of have to go in there and customize it based on what they have. So I think those two things have been kind of like the biggest crux for me to kind of see the vision of the online thing just really taking off.
Okay. So sales, and then like kind of the fulfillment, how to make it where it is scalable, not having to like take all the time building out the programs.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think if it's going to be scalable and worth my while, I don't want to spend a whole day just doing one client, right?
Yeah.
It's like if I'm going to do a whole day, it should be for 30, 40 clients for it to, to scale and grow.
Yeah.
Most people who want to lose weight, they don't give a shit about the program. You know that, right? Like that they just want results. So like you shouldn't need to spend all that time. Like I can't tell you how many clients I had that were like, yeah, I don't really care. I'm just like, okay, so do this. So like, okay. Like, so you shouldn't have to spend like hours and hours and hours on that. And a lot of your stuff, you make it once and it's done. So like you have a 3-day, a 4-day, a 5-day, a home workout. You're done. You give it to them. If they don't like it, you can use software that makes it very easy to change stuff. But yeah, fulfillment for fitness is very easy online. It's like very simple.
Yeah, maybe you guys can help me out with that, with like, making subtle tweaks and making it easy.
Yeah, the fulfillment's not the issue. The difference between rich trainers and broke trainers is the sales and marketing. It's not the fulfillment. Fulfillment's the easiest part. That's a joke.
Right.
You get a lot of trainers that come on these calls and, oh my God, I don't know how to do fulfillment. I'm like, dude, trust me, that is the least of your worries. Because if you get clients, they don't care, bro, because they're 30 pounds overweight. They can't see their pants. They just want to lose a little weight, give them the diet. Like they're not guys like you. So you think that that's a big deal, but the guy you're working with, it's like, you don't care.
Well, honestly, it's probably the type of client that I've been attracting, probably like my avatar. So like I've pretty much my entire fitness industry has been collegiate strength and conditioning and then working at a CrossFit gym. So, I mean, I'm sure you guys are well versed in CrossFit, but like the people that have been working out in CrossFit for a while are decently fit. They're not 30, 40 pounds overweight. They actually know quite a bit just from they're so versed in different movements. So it's like you got to give them something that they really haven't seen before. Now, if it's what you're saying, it's somebody that knows nothing about fitness, it's 30, 40 pounds weight, then it's easy. It's like, you could put something very generic and simple out there and they're going to get results and they're not going to care.
Yeah, for sure. And last thing I'll say, and then I'll shut up. Sorry, knows I can't stop talking, but you can go after those clients, and it's the same thing though. With the right software, you can build pre-made stuff. So then it's just very simple tweaks. Like when I say, like, think of like a computer, and you drag and you click and move. But at the same time, you want to go after people who have money. So part of business, it's not just like, hey, here's who I serve. It's like you can serve that, but like if I was going after college age kids, they're broke, dude. But if I go after someone who's 30 to 40, they start caring about their health and they got money. So it's also like, we'll walk you through the pillars, but you can do whatever you want. It's just, there's pros and cons to every type of decision. So like CrossFit people, usually I think they have decent money because CrossFit's a little bit more than a normal gym, but we'll talk about it. There's a million ways, but I definitely don't want you to think it's impossible, because I want to be on this call with the company I have if it wasn't possible, because that's how I got here. So we'll walk you through it.
Absolutely. I definitely think it's possible. And I want to attract the clientele that you guys have been doing because it works. Obviously, I was just letting you guys know who my clientele has been in the past, just from word of mouth.
Yeah. Just curious, have you ever worked with like a business coach or like done any courses or anything to help with the marketing or sales or anything to help with online?
No, none.
Okay. Is there any reason, like, because I mean, it seems like you've been thinking about it for a while. Any reason like now you're like, hey, like starting to reach out, looking at some of these options?
So, I started off obviously my online thing. And then when I started at that gym, I quickly became fitness director, which was like, a big step. Like within a year, I went from part-time to fitness director. and thought like, all right, this is what it's going to be. This is how it's going to take off. We got plans to do multiple locations. Well, like I said, like the in-person class setting just really hasn't come back to fruition like it was during before COVID. So that, and not being at the gym 24/7, being able to do my work anywhere from my laptop and spend more time with my family. That's the biggest reasons for me.
Gotcha. And I know if you saw like, because obviously there's tons of options, like you said, when you're in fitness, you kind of see it all. But was there something specific that made you like click on our ad, or anything like specific that you saw that, because obviously like there's tons of other options. So I'm always just a little curious if, just been following us for, a little longer, or saw something specific that you were like, yeah, I like that they do that.
Not necessarily. Like I've seen a ton of ads on Instagram. I don't really know why this one just caught my attention. I've been actually listening to a few of them on YouTube for like the past week, just realizing like I need to figure out how to do something else. So like I'll click on an Instagram ad and listen to it. And I think I listened to Tanner's like 2 days ago, and it was like, hey, book a free call. And I'm like, hey, what the heck? Let's try it out. Let's see if we can actually make this thing work. To where, again, not having to go in the gym every day.
Okay. And I guess like big picture, let's say like we bring you in, put everything in place and we're scaling up. Is there a goal like, monthly revenue you want to hit? Like, hey, I want to make 10K a month starting out, 15K, 20K. Have you already kind of put a number on it?
A little bit. So, I mean, the ultimate goal really is to be able to do this full time and stop my gig over at the other gym, or do some type of hybrid. But like I want to make this the my highest revenue income. So I think I'm pulling in up roughly, now my gym takes 30% of all my online stuff, so I take 70%. But if you took 100% of that, I'm pulling in about $3,000 a month right now just from the online stuff, and then I'll pull in about 3.5 just from being the fitness director. That's what I have for salary. So, I would like to get it to where, I can at least make what I'm making online in total. So somewhere around $6,000. But I mean, I really have ambition of like, hey, if I can get to like 10, 12K a month, then that would be great for my family. And then, that would be like me and my wife starting to discuss, hey, maybe you don't have to work anymore. And, you can stay at home with our son, and I'll focus on the fitness business side of things.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, no, that's definitely doable with the, high ticket prices. That's essentially just, 2, 3 clients online. So definitely doable. And and you have mentioned like your wife quite a bit. I'm guessing like, does she know you're on the call, pretty supportive, or are we on like, more of like a secret mission, so to speak?
Oh no, I mean, she does not want me to work at this gym anymore because it takes a lot of my time. I told her I had a phone call today at 11, so she knows I'm on a phone call. I don't think she really knows exactly what it's for, but she knows I'm trying to explore other options, again, to make it to where we have better lives.
Okay. Gotcha. Is it something where she might like help out or in fitness too, or is it just more of like, hey, she's supportive, but not like a business partner helping with it or anything?
Good question. So she's a nurse at Children's in Dallas. So the only thing, it sucks because she does work 4 days a week, and they're, anywhere from 8 to 12 hours. So she is gone a lot during those times. But then the other days she can stay home and, work out and watch our kid. But the biggest thing is that she carries our insurance. So my gym doesn't provide us insurance. She has really good health benefits there. So that's the only thing that's kind of like, you need to keep that. But, if she's never done online programming before, she's learned a lot from me since I've been in the field for a while. So if it's something, where I started this and it really took off, and it's like, hey, you could make twice what you're making there, and then we'll just buy our insurance, then obviously like we would be dumb not to go down that route. But it would definitely be something that I would start first and kind of see how it went.
Okay, perfect. No, that makes sense. Okay, cool. No, I think it seems pretty straightforward. I think I have a pretty clear picture. And you've never like ran ads, like marketing, anything with like paid traffic. Have you ever done anything like that, or would that all be on the newer side?
No, our gym has done that before, but that is not my really department. I don't really handle that stuff. I'm more in like the fulfillment of like, managing coaches to where they are contacting the leads, and then running our classes, doing our programming for our gym. That's been kind of my forte in my lane.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, no, like I said, I think it's pretty straightforward. I have a pretty clear picture. Is there anything maybe I haven't asked about or anything you think is important just to bring up before I kind of get more into, just my thoughts, how we can help?
I don't think so. I think that pretty much covers everything. I think, like you said, I think you guys have a pretty clear picture of kind of my background and what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So yeah, what I'll do, I'll just walk through what we call our three pillars. Tanner, kind of mentioned it, but I'll just try to break down like our process. Typically, there's three main things that we help all of our fitness clients implement. And the first thing, and honestly, this is the most important piece, is what we call OCP, and it stands for Offer Creation Process. And what we're doing here is we're helping you actually craft and package a high ticket fitness nutrition offer, something that you can start selling at a more premium price. Because a lot of what's taught out there, and if you do like courses, coaching, that's kind of why I asked, like, if you've done something just to kind of see like maybe what you were taught. But a lot of it says be competitive. Like, look at what your market's doing, as far as like what they're saying, and then, obviously what they're charging, and then charge somewhere in the middle. But when you do that, you basically commoditize yourself, because that's when you fall into that trap where people are like, hey, I do it for $100 a month. But then they're like, oh, here's another trainer that does it for 80. Oh, wait, no, here's one that does it for 50. And you're just kind of in that like pricing commodity game. And that's never a game you want to play, especially online, because people will typically always go with the cheapest option. So what we want to do, that's why we focus so much on the actual offer, how it's presented, making sure people perceive it in a certain way, because it's all marketing. Kind of like how Tanner said, it's kind of sad but true, but online, it has nothing to do with what you know about fitness and nutrition. It's the best marketers that win, the best salespeople. And that's what we're doing, is you bring the expertise with what you know, and we'll bring obviously the marketing, how to present it and how to make it compelling. And that's what's going to set you apart. And even to give like a real life example, think about if I gave you like two cars, and one's like a brand new 2023 Ferrari and the other one's like a 1980 like rusted pickup truck. And I told you had to sell them both for the same price. Let's just say 50K. Kind of a rhetorical question, but which one's going to be easier to sell, a brand new Ferrari or, a 1980 pickup truck? And that's kind of what I mean by the offer. If we can make it look like a Ferrari and everyone else is selling like, the Ford, Toyota, the Prius, that's what's going to set you apart and make people say, man, everything he's doing, it's unique, it's different, it's not like these other trainers, and he's charging more. What is he doing that everyone else isn't doing? And just kind of putting you in a different category. So, well, any questions on that first piece? Is that pretty straightforward?
Yeah, you said offer something process. What was the C? OCP?
Offer creation process. Yep. Yeah. So, and once again, it's just make like everything that you say as far as, because all the trainers kind of say the same thing. They're like, hey, I'm going to give you customized workouts, customized nutrition, and accountability. It's like, cool, that's what everyone does. So we have to take those same things, but just say it in a more compelling, more like just a way where people aren't used to hearing it. That's going to set them or set you apart. And once again, just make you seem like you're doing something that everyone else isn't, or at least presenting it in a more attractive, compelling way. Pretty straightforward. Any specific questions on that? Cool. So the second piece after that, because now that we have something marketable, sellable, now we have to actually put in systems to get you clients, which is what we call our faucet system. And the biggest thing with us is, I'll just kind of give you what a lot of times happens is with a lot of programs, courses, what they'll do is they'll give you like an offer sheet or like some like worksheets to fill out. And they'll say, hey, fill that out, come back to us. And then the first thing they do is jump straight into paid ads. And one, that pretty much never works because, there's tons of stuff that could go wrong. Like literally anything could go wrong. But the biggest thing is you just have no idea what's not working because, since there is tons of stuff that could go wrong, the only way to really fix it or tweak it is to, spend money, hope it works. If it doesn't, tweak something, spend more money, hope it works. If it still doesn't, you tweak something else, you spend more money, you hope it works. And that's obviously not a recipe for success. So what we do instead is we actually show you how to get your first 2 to 3 clients for free. When you hear I know it sounds crazy when you hear like, hey, these trainers are making, 8K, 10K, 12K in their first 30, 45 days. I know it can sound crazy, but that's honestly just, like I said, 3, 4 clients. And that's what we'll actually show you is how to do that and get those clients coming in just using like content strategy, posting, nothing that we have to spend money. And that way we can actually see it work, get a proof of concept and get a product market fit first. And then we'll start spending money once we've already tested and got revenue. So that way we test. So you're not just jumping in blind and kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping it lands. But also we have revenue. So we can take some of that revenue and then use that to fund ads. But the biggest thing is how we actually run the ads. Because what a lot of people do is they just say, hey, put up an ad, get them to click it. It's going to go to some type of video sales letter or some type of webinar where it's like, hey, here's what I do. Here's how I help. Here's all my testimonials, book a call if you want to lose whatever weight or gain this, whatever their offer is. And the problem is lots of people do that. That's pretty much what everyone does. And you can only really get phone and email. And if they don't put in the correct information, there's no way to reach out. So what we do instead is what we call our faucet system, but essentially what it's doing is it's creating a lot more touch points. What our faucet system comprises of is 7 different touch points where once these people get to you, instead of just sending them to a video, we're actually getting them in Messenger and DMs where we can have more personal conversations. And that way, if they don't maybe put in the correct phone or email, it doesn't really matter because we can hit them through DMs and Messenger with voicemails, picture drops, ringless voicemails, other audio and text files. So we're just hitting them in all different angles. And that's what's essentially is what's going to set you apart. Because, if other trainers and things are just sending them a text or email every now and then, and they're seeing you on social media, they're getting your automations, and then we're getting text and email, that's just on top of that, you're going to be the first person they think about when they're like, hey, I need help, or, I want to work with someone. And that's what makes marketing effective. It's how many touch points or how many points of contact that you can have with them, because that's, once again, it's like, to use an example, like say, 2 guys are trying to get the same girl. One guy texts her once a week. The other guy is sending her flowers, chocolates, calling her at work, carrier pigeons, whatever the case. That guy, she's going to be like, man, this guy really cares. Like he's sending me all this stuff. This other guy's probably talking to some other girls on the side or whatever the case. So that's what I mean with this marketing system is it's hitting people from all different angles. So, when they come into your ecosystem, they're not just going to fall through the cracks. They're going to essentially be, fed with value, nurtured, see content until they decide to book a call. So that's essentially what we call our faucet system. Once again, a lot of people just focus on the marketing, getting people to you. Like I'm sure you've heard we'll get you 30 leads in 30 days or, like all these promises of leads. But that's not the hard part. That's why they promise that. The hard part is everything that happens after the click, turning those leads into sales. And that takes an entire ecosystem. So that's what we're helping give you, not just getting people to you, but once again, everything that it takes to get them to the point where they become a high ticket client through the nurturing, the touch points, the automations, just building that value, up until that point. Questions? I know I'm kind of throwing a lot out there, but any specific questions on that process?
Really only 2, one, like, do you guys get any feedback of like maybe too many touch points and like the automation thing, people thinking that it's not personal?
So that's why we use a mix of automations and manual messaging. So it's not going to be completely automated, and we do that on purpose. So it will seem more personable. But essentially, like with the touch points, I mean, you might, some people might be like, hey, bro, I got it. I'm going to show up to the call, or like, hey, I get it, like whatever the case. But worst case, they're just going to keep seeing you and seeing you and seeing you until they're like, I'm sick of seeing this guy, and they block you, which, they're either going to block you or book a call. So that's kind of what we want anyway.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Once again, step one is the OCP. Have to make sure it's, obviously marketable, sellable, something that's going to set you apart. The second thing is that faucet system. And then the third thing is what we call our process. And when I say process, I mean, not only like our process and kind of what that looks like, but it's also how do you know if this process is the best fit? And that's kind of like answering the question, why us? Because it's a fair question. There's tons of coaches, everyone kind of promises the world. But if you really just focus on these 3 things, it helps drown out all the noise. Because I mean, at the end of the day, coaches can claim anything, their marketing team can say anything. I mean, even the sales rep, like, I'm trying to be trustworthy, but at the end of the day, you just don't know me. Like we just met. So if you just focus on these 3 things that I'm about to break down, it helps drown out all that noise, and you can just kind of focus on what's tangible. And that's experience, specificity, attention. And experience, I'm just putting this out there in case you're not like really familiar with our company. But we are an 8-figure company. We've done about 70 million in sales, worked with about 40,000 clients, and been around about 6.5 years. And obviously, I'm not, saying any of this to impress you, but if you have all of these coaches, all these companies all lined up saying the same thing, making the same promises, that kind of helps drown out, kind of what's real and what's not. You can just say who's the most experienced, who's worked with the most clients, and not saying you have to go with them, but if you had a gun to your head, had to make the business work, that just gives you the best chance, just, statistically speaking. Probably the person that's done it the most, helped the most people, has the best chance to get you there. So that's the first thing, is just like that experience or track record of the company. The second thing is the specificity piece, like how specific is the coach or company to what you want to do? And The reason I bring this up is because honestly, fitness is very unique in the way it's marketed. It has to have, it's almost like double-sided. It has a big value component. People have to know they're getting what they're paying for, but it has a huge emotional component too. Like you can't go to someone that's, wanting to day trade or get into real estate or, even starting a fitness business like the conversation we're having. You can't go to someone with that type of marketing strategy that's maybe, 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds overweight and has self-esteem issues. Like the way you're in a market towards that has to be tailored towards a more fitness, type of marketing strategy. The conversations, they're different from business coaching. Like what I'm getting at is you have to find someone that not only knows business, but knows the fitness side as well. Because, if not, it's just not going to resonate. If you try to use business coach strategy to try to target a fitness client, they're going to sense it's ingenuine. So with us, that's why I think a lot of fitness professionals work with us because, well, I'm not sure if you knew like Tanner's story or how he started, but he actually was an in-person trainer. Started, in person, did the whole gym grind and kind of, in the same shoes of like wanting to have more impact. And that's when he built his first 7-figure fitness business about 6.5, 7 years ago. So fast forward to now, that's how we got to what we do. But everything that we do and teach, and like obviously all the clients we've worked with, that's exactly, what's been our bread and butter since day one is online fitness coaching. So just another reason you can feel confident it's going to work. But the last piece, and honestly, this is the most important piece, is the attention. Like how much, I guess, like support you're going to have with the implementation. Because, and don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying like groups, courses, like those types of programs are all bad, but like what they don't really tell you is you almost already have to be at a 10 or pretty close to it with your business for those kind of programs to make sense. Because, if they just throw you on like a 200-300 person group call and they're talking about how to, like optimize your click-through rate to get your ROAS up on your ad account. And you're like, bro, I'm still trying to figure out an offer. Like, I don't even have anything to sell yet. Like, what are you guys talking about? That's pretty much the problem is it's good information, but, unless you're already there at that level, it just doesn't really make sense to talk about any of that. So that's why we do the one-to-one because we just meet you where you're at. Someone that's coming to us making, maybe 5, 10K a month wanting to get to 20, 30, completely separate, case scenario versus someone that's making 50K wanting to scale to 200K a month. So that's why we do the one-to-one because once again, it just kind of meets you where you're at. And that way it's like, okay, based on where we're at, here's the path you need to follow. Here's the steps we need to take. And, just kind of like laying it out from, first point to obviously like end goal where you want to end up at. So, like I'm big on analogies. It's almost like it's like using like a map versus a GPS. You can figure out how to get somewhere with a map, but it's not going to tell you all the nitty gritty step by step if there's construction ahead, kind of like how GPS would. So just a quick recap, and then, if you have any questions, you can throw it at me. But first thing is offer creation. It has to be compelling, has to actually set you apart. If you go out there and say what everyone else does, that's exactly what people will treat you like. And then they'll end up going with the cheapest option. So that's always step one. We never like that's, nothing else downstream is going to work unless that's, hitting the nail on the head. The second thing is that faucet system. You can message all day, you can do organic, you can post, but at the end of the day, for it to be consistent, there has to be a system in place. And that's exactly what it's meant to do is not only just get you leads, but once again, make sure once these people get to you, they're actually being caught and not everyone's kind of, falling through the cracks, like that leaky bucket syndrome. So that's the second piece. And then the third piece is just the process on like how to choose or how to make the best decision when everyone, kind of sounds the same or promises similar things. I would just look at experience, specificity, attention. If the company is super experienced, specific to what you want to do and gives you all the attention to actually make sure it's done right. I've never had a bad experience buying a course or a coach or, whatever the case when all three of those things were there. But, at the end of the day, like I've talked to sales reps that were great. The stuff wasn't really that great once I actually got into it. And then I've talked to sales reps that sucked and, the stuff that I bought was actually good. They just, didn't present it well. So that's why, we just like to walk through the decision framework because no matter what the case, you can always look at those three things. And if those line up, that pretty much gives you your answer. But, questions or anything up until this point?
Yeah, no, all of that makes sense. So, are you guys, doing any online fitness right now, or is it simply just this company now?
Yeah, so we just help trainers scale. We don't do like, we're not like helping people lose weight, if that's what you're asking.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you guys transfer over to this market as opposed to the online, just, helping people lose weight and get results if it was doing so well?
It's funny you say that because Tanner actually always says he never like meant to go the business coaching way. It's just when he scaled his first business, people naturally started asking like, "What are you doing? What's working?" Because they were trying to scale theirs too. And then it got to a point where he just had like basically a waiting list of people that wanted business coaching and were ready to pay. So he was like, why like it's just money being left on the table essentially.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's the process. What I'll just kind of walk through just what the support looks like, kind of like tangibly what you get. And then yeah, if you have any questions on that, you can, ask me anything you're kind of thinking. But first thing, 1-to-1, like I said, that's what you'll get paired up pretty much with day one. That's going to be your guide A through Z. So you'll have unlimited messaging via Facebook Messenger and then private Zoom calls as needed. So if it's something quick, shoot them a quick message and do it that way. If it's something more visual, like you do need to hop on Zoom, maybe pull up your screen, let them see what's going on, ask questions that way, then, you can do it just like we're doing. And once again, the coaches are experienced. So usually they can just hop on with you and say, hey, here's the problem right here. You need to change that. Maybe, say this a little differently and, the post is, ready to go or whatever you're kind of needing feedback on. So that's all your 1-to-1. On top of that, you'll also have 2 extra layers of support, which are daily live expert calls and office hours, which are both Monday through Friday. So expert calls are on specific topics in business like sales, marketing, funnels, automations, messaging, copywriting, mindset, social media, fulfillment, kind of anything you can, think that you might need extra help with. And then the office hours are more free flow. Just maybe hop on, ask whatever you want, soak up some more information, get different perspective outside of your 1-to-1 coach. But because everyone has their 1-to-1 coach, the expert calls and office hours have low attendance. So even if you use those calls, even though they're more quote unquote group, there's probably 5, 6, 7-ish people on at a time. But even at the very high end, I mean, most I've pretty much seen is like 15, 20. So yeah, very small groups. And those are actually ran by our own executive staff. So the same exact people that are running our company behind the scenes, those are the ones working with you. So between your 1-to-1 coach, your expert calls and office hours, I mean, you could be on 3 hours of Zoom, getting, live support, asking questions, getting feedback. I mean, daily if you really wanted to. If anything, you're going to be like, hey, bro, like, leave me alone. Let me work. I know what I'm doing. No one complains about not having enough support. Questions or anything on that? Pretty straightforward.
No, that makes sense. So the one-on-one messenger, Zoom calls as needed, expert calls, and office hour. Is that the list? That's what's included?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's how you get access to the support. Once again, the reason I wanted to walk through that is because a lot of companies or courses, they might claim 1-to-1, but then you get in and you can only reach out like once a month or, every 2 weeks. So ours actually is needed. If you have questions, you don't have to wait a month or 2 weeks or whenever your next call is. And then on top of that, I mean, once again, most programs, they once a week or, pretty much bi-weekly is like the most you'll get. But 1-to-1 is as needed, and then you can just reach out. But also those calls, those are just extra layers of support that are both daily. So that's the whole goal, is just to overload our clients with support, because that's like, honestly, it's not information. Like a lot of people, it's like, oh, I need, maybe there's something I'm not doing, maybe there's something I haven't learned, but the information's out there. Like if it was just information, everyone would be millionaires. What people need help with is implementing what to actually like take out of that information and then, putting in their business correctly. So that's why we focus more on the support, high level, expert support. So anytime you get stuck, there's always someone that's pretty much an expert in what you're stuck on to reach out to. Pretty straightforward thing you're thinking. Cool.
Yeah. So is there any like upfront, content or direction you guys give, or is it just like, hey, keep doing what you're doing, but you have, access to your one-on-one coach?
Oh no, so yeah, you'll get an implementation pathway, kind of like what we call it. But what that looks like is like, let's say you got going, so payments done, agreements done, we get you into the group and then introduce you to the coaches and team, and then use the person that's you'll get paired up with. That's our client success director. He'll basically do your onboarding and then pair you up with your 1-to-1 coach. And then first call with your 1-to-1 coach, that's when they're going to game plan and like strategize with you. They might say, okay, based on like where we're at, here's here's when we're going to meet, how we're going to meet, how often we're going to meet, here's everything we need you to do immediately, things we're going to do for you, get any resources we need to get for you. But yeah, once clients leave that call, that's when they're 100% certain and clear on their next steps and what those look like and what you should be doing day by day for about the next week in the program. So it's very you'll have your pathway. It's very structured.
Got it.
Cool. So last 2 things. One is the actual community, our private community. That's where we have all of our clients, execs, the coaches, everyone's in there. It's just where you can ask questions, bounce ideas off of people, training, go through extra stuff on your own time. And the perspective, I think, is the biggest thing people pretty much like say they get out of that, because you're going to see people just getting started, trying to hit their first 10, 15K, but you're also going to see people that are already doing the 50K a month, the 100K a month, the 500K a month plus, and, everyone in between as well. So you can literally see what it looks like to run those businesses from the inside out, see what they're doing, see what's working, what's not working. And then obviously like having the team, too. So if you have questions, get stuck, you can always reach out. And then you'll also have access to our portal. Our portal is like our game plan, our blueprint, everything that we do and teach broken down in module video format. So it's super detailed. Everything you're going to need is in there. And it includes our done for you asset library. So everything that I've been talking about requires a ton of tech, like automations, workflows, funnels, landing pages, all the stuff that makes it run, but it's all already pretty much built out and done. So we just like click a button, we can download a template, we'll help you change and tweak and edit it to match your personality, how you would resonate with your clients, but you're not going to have to build out all this from scratch or, go get Active Campaign, click funnels, Kajabi, like nothing crazy like that. It's all pretty much ready to go.
I like the template thing. It's almost like franchise-esque where it's already built out. You're just kind of buying into it, because I'm not
exactly.
I've messed with campaigns before, but I very rarely, so seldom on that piece. I don't know a ton about it.
Yeah, no, that's the only reason our clients move so quickly, because like that build out period can be like 3 to 6 months to get everything built out, tested, optimized. So yeah, we kind of front load that for you where you don't have to worry about it. It's like you said, plug and play kind of business in a box. Any other questions you have on anything from up to this point, from the operation, clients?
The first step is the onboarding. How long does the onboarding take?
I mean, 30 minutes, give or take, depending on how many questions you have. It's usually pretty straightforward.
Oh, I was thinking like a week or something like that. 30 minutes. Okay.
Oh, no. Like, yeah, our clients are already like having conversations, like going after, getting clients pulled in like a weekend. So we move quick.
Okay. So like how long, given my situation, how long do you think until it's, up and running? When I say up and running, does it really mean like, once I'm versed in what the offer is, how to sell it, is up and running just mean that the ads are up and running?
Yeah. So, well, up and running means like you're having conversations, bringing in clients. And I'll just give you, because, we don't like to just throw out like, hey, this is what you could expect, or we just look at numbers, averages. So if you're just average, we track all of our clients. We just like make benchmarks, but our average client gets about 3 to 5 sales in their first 30, 45 days. They make their first sale about 2.5, 3 weeks working with us. And once again, these are high ticket sales. So usually like 2, 3, 4K. So that's how they're hitting that 10K. It's usually 3 to 5 clients at about 2K, 2,500.
I already have another full-time job and doing this and a newborn. So I just want to make sure, I'm not afraid to grind and hustle by any means. I think you guys realize that it's what's all on my plate, but I just want to make sure it's doable, obviously.
Yeah.
And like, think of it this way. So you're looking at maybe 2 to 4 hours a day you got that you could spend max. So step one is like, you're going to come in, we're going to grab all the low hanging fruit. So do that, get a couple sales, boom. Now, if the next step is moving to ads, that's going to depend on your sales ability and your messaging, right? Every guy in the world thinks he's good at talking to girls, but most of them are not. So if that is, then you go to ads. If you're not, then you go to organic. Let's say worst case, I'm giving you like worst case scenario so you can like think of this. Let's say you do like 100 reach outs. Okay, no, not 100. Let's say for you do like 50 a day. Okay, and this is just convos with people. So you're having some type of conversation. Let's say out of those convos, you get, 5 people who book a call. Okay, you close 1. Okay, so that's about 2 hours of work, sales calls. So that's about 4 hours, right? That would take you about 4 hours. Once you get that consistently, then we go to ads. Okay, so how fast you get there depends on you, but day one, you can start making money. It's just you set your schedule, you hit work, you come back home, you do things with a fam, you move on the business. Once the business revenue takes over what you're doing at work, you quit your job, you go full-time on this, ramp. The only limiting factor will be your ability to sell, like how good you are. The better you are at sales, the faster it goes. Those are our easiest clients, because if you're not good at sales, that takes time. You're going to need, it just takes you more bats. Like you have to get up at the plate more and you're going to miss. So if you're good at sales, it goes even faster, but you can start making money day one. Like I made 10K in my first week. It's not rocket science. It's just effort. And then how good at sales are you? I came off door to door. It's part of why I made 10K in my first week.
So if there's no ads yet, where are you getting those clients from?
First, the low hanging fruit. So like followers, comments, like all that type of stuff. After that, then we show you outreach strategies, the most efficient ones. Cause like what a lot of people don't get is like you either pay with time or money. So if you see my ads, I'm paying with money. If I outreach to you, I'm paying with time. There's pros and cons to both. But with you probably have more time than money, especially after you pay us. So we only need you to get a couple sales though. It's not this long-term strategy of like, hey, I'm going to be like knocking on a door every day the rest of my life. I just like the way I equate like what you would be doing is like, it's a numbers game, right? So we teach you the most efficient ways to do it. But if you have no cash, there's only two ways to get clients. You either post about it or you do some type of outreach, right? I mean, anyone who tells you anything different is full of. So we get that dialed in, you get a couple clients, now you have cash for ads start coming in, then all you have to do is respond, which is a lot easier, right? Kind of like this call, like you came from an ad, but we had to pay for it. So there's a cost per call for you to be here. There's a cost per sale, etc. But we don't want to start with that right away because if you suck at sales or you're not as good as you think and you start running ads, you're just going a deeper hole. So we need to make sure you have proof of concept before we start running ads.
That makes sense. Yeah, I like it.
Don't think of it as this is like, I have to do this forever. It's like, no, you're in the hardest part of your business right now. This is the hardest it will ever be. Gets easier as you progress because now you've done the heavy lifting, you have the skill. And then once you have the skill, it's like paid ads is way better because it's like, why wouldn't you run paid ads? If you can spend $1,000 and make 3,000, I do that all day long. That's a great deal. It's way better than the stock market.
That's kind of what I was talking about when I said we'll help you get your first 2-3 clients for free. That's pretty much how all of our clients start because almost no one has just everything thrown to ads right out the gate. Any other questions? All good questions. I just want to make sure I get everything answered.
No, I think that's it.
Okay. But cool. No, so that's pretty much like the long and short of it. All I have left to get into is more like time frame, pricing, the fun stuff. So if you're all good on everything else, it makes sense. I'm ready to, go there if you are. Cool. So the way the program works, everything we talked about, everything included, it's 4 months, 4 months or 16 weeks, however you want to think about it. And then for the 4 months, everything included, it comes out to just 16,000.
So is it 4 months? Just like we're cutting it off at 4 months?
You'll have options after that. Average client finishes the 4 months making about 28K. So that's when you can say, hey, do I want to scale? Maybe hire a team, and then we can assess what that looks like. If you're like, hey, 28K per month, that's more than enough. I'm cool here. Then we're like, hey, good luck. Come back if you ever need anything. But yeah, tons of options after the 4 months.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know if you guys were. No, I mean it's pretty much soaked in. I mean that's a lot of money. Not even gonna lie. Tanner, that's a lot of money to invest
Sure.
in this. So,
yeah, no, and no, I appreciate you, being transparent. Like you're in sales, like I appreciate you laying it all out. But like price and everything aside, now that everything is on the table, is there anything just program or process wise that is still up in the air? Anything like about tangibly what we just talked about, or is it strictly just like, hey, that's just more than I thought, or just kind of out of the budget?
I would say it is, out of the budget. I definitely don't mind investing in myself, but 16, that's like a third of my savings right now that I've been working ever since I started, to get this thing going, or to where I am now. So it's it's a big risk, obviously. I'm doing that. So yeah, I mean it's just a big risk. I mean it would be amazing if that would take off, but it's nothing's a guarantee, obviously.
Of course. Yeah. And no, I like definitely like I hear what you're saying. Like obviously like investing yourself, starting a business, like it's one of those things where like being an entrepreneur, like in the most basic definition is, taking risks, like something safe, something guaranteed. That's, that's a job. So like that's like everyone, definitely feels that. But like with what you just said, is it something about the program that you're still like up in the air, like uncertain about that is making you feel like it would be a risk? Or I guess, because usually when people say that, it's like, hey, like, it's a risk. Like, I feel like maybe I can't make it back, or, there's something like about it that's making you feel less than 100% certain. Is there something that you're like up in the air about, like the program or process?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just worried about my time, and then like the 16 divided by 4, that comes out to 4 grand a month. I mean, that's pretty much close to my salary after taxes. So I would be making $0 essentially for 4 months, unless I closed a bunch of people within the first week, like you guys are saying. It is possible to do, but it's a big upfront chunk of cash to start that. And so that, and then on top of that, like just worrying about the time, just still trying to, because obviously, if I want to go in on something and I'm going to invest that much, I would be probably up all night stressing and trying to reach out to every person I could. Um, that would make it very demanding on my wife to handle the baby. And then I also have another full-time job running the gym at the same time. So it's like, man, do I really have the time? And am I going to put that stress on my family? For something that may or may not work and put us in kind of a dire straight financial situation.
Gotcha. Okay. And just because you said a few things there, like, well, one with the time aspect, like because the 2 to 4 hours a day, like just enough to send those 50 messages, have those conversations. I guess like with that being said, is that doable or something that you're willing to do? Because obviously, like you have to make the time, but it's like in my mind, like what's the alternative? Like, because you could keep doing this and keep, saving, doing what you've done, but you said you've been doing it for years and like haven't got to the place you want to. So, in my mind, if you didn't do it this way or didn't pull out the time, it's like, what else would have, like, would you just keep kind of going down this way and doing what you're doing?
No, fair point. So like I would say now I'm looking to make a change. I mean, I've increased my revenue just from, working hard, starting in the gym industry up until now a lot, like tenfold. But I'm looking for the future of like, I kind of see like based on recently what's been happening, the trajectory. And it's like, okay, I need to think about getting into something else. But by no means has it been like, I've been doing the same thing and it hasn't been working. Things have been working, but I see it down, like I said, down the road to where it's like, I want to, set something up and provide further down with my family. So there's not necessarily like an alternative. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And that's kind of why I was asking because like obviously like I know you said like, hey, I've saved up, like that's like a third of what I have saved up until this point. But I mean, I'm sure like these entrepreneurs, like the people that are successful and like do the things they want in life, it's like you're never going to save your way to wealth. It comes from investing yourself and getting skill sets that allow you to make that back 10 times over. And that's pushing it faster than because at the end of the day, like people spend what they find valuable. Like if you value your time, then you'll spend your money to fast track your time. But most people, they value their money more than their time, and they spend all the time in the world trying to figure it out themselves. But at the same time, 2, 3, 4 years go by, and it's like which one's more valuable to you? Like you can definitely spend your time and try to figure it out yourself, or maybe like keep doing what you're doing trying to save. But at the end of the day, it's just once again like that's what it kind of comes down to is you have to ask yourself, do you want to pay for the skills? Because the thing is you're going to buy the program either way. If you truly want to do all of the things that we talked about, it's just a matter of how do you want to pay. Do you want to pay with your time and it takes years and years, or do you want to pay with your money and fast track it? And it is uncomfortable, obviously like at the start, but once again, getting uncomfortable, kind of like feeling that fear and doing it anyway, like that's the only way forward, because growth can never happen inside your comfort zone. So the fact that it does feel uncomfortable should be a good thing. Like, trust me, everyone feels that. But there's very few people who are willing to take that uncomfortable decision and make the steps necessary to be successful versus, the people that kind of feel that stall up and then go back to what is comfortable. So like 100%, I feel you, I appreciate you being transparent with me, but that's like, it's really not even about like, the risks, the nerves, like anything like that. It's just, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the type of person that feels that and then does it anyway, or the type of person that feels it and then kind of stalls up and goes back to what's comfortable?
I think for me, it's not a sense of uncomfortability. I know I would be definitely uncomfortable starting that off. It's more so the fact of just kind of and also like learning about business recently. I totally get like what you just said. You're not going to save your way to a better future. Like you have to invest in something. I just think for me with my funds right now, my time, my family, 16K is quite a bit to invest. So I definitely understand and I'm willing to invest, but for me, that's just a little too much. Because, you know, and again, it's not a sense of uncomfortability. I know I'd be uncomfortable. It's a sense of like, okay, I invest this and now I'm struggling to feed my family for 4 months, you know, which that's not an option for me with a newborn. I'll go hungry, but I'm not going to let him go hungry at all.
No, yeah, that's fair. Like our goal is not to obviously like leave people in a bad situation, but I guess like with that being said, if we can like make something work out with the price or make it where, you know, it is comfortable, maybe like split it up, would that help? Or is there anything else you're thinking of? Because it sounds like it's all more like on the price side.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely on the price side. I mean, yeah, I know like installments and stuff like that, but that still seems like quite a bit. I mean, it definitely seems like something I want to do, but even to split it up over time, I don't think, you know, I just don't know if that would work.
Yeah. So like just basically like what I'd like to know is if we're able to figure out the price, would you be comfortable to move forward? Like, are you that comfortable with the program or you're still like, I'm not really sure about it?
No, I mean, I'm pretty confident in the program. I mean, I don't think you guys would be asking for 16K if the program didn't speak for itself. You know, and to do $70 million in sales, that's pretty amazing.
So what's your cash on hand then? So like, cause yeah, like I'm with you. So like you got a family, you got kids. I'm from a family of 7, so I don't have kids, but I know what 7 kids in the house looks like. So
Right.
what's you said you had 3, you had how much did you say you had in like what's your cash on hand? What's available? You said you had something X amount in savings, and then what else do you have?
Yeah, I mean, I've got about 50K in savings right now. So that's about, and that's, you know, me being really honest with you guys. I've got about that much in savings.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but I've been saving it, you know, ever since I got out of grad school.
How long is that?
I got out of grad school in 2020.
Dope. Okay, so it's like 3 years. Okay. So just so I understand, you have the money to do it. It's just you feel like that's a little much. So walk me through in your head, like what's the number you had maybe coming on the call so I can just understand where you're at.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I didn't know anything really about your program and your coaching and stuff.
Mhm.
So I knew it was going to be some type of price point for the coaching in the software and all everything like that. I was thinking it was going to be somewhere like around, you know, 2 to 5K. That's what I thought you guys were going to ask. If I'm being like completely honest.
That's totally cool. You're brand new to this, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm brand new to this now. I don't know if I would do it for, you know, a 5K up front either. I'd have to ask my wife. But like those would, it's a lot easier to invest like, okay, this could change our lives. It's, you know, a few $1,000s. I can do that versus, you know, a third of my savings. Um,
Sure.
but on top of that too, you know, like just coming from me, you know, I work at a gym to where I'm managing employees, but I'm doing a lot of the work themselves, like myself, you know, because if I don't do it or show them how to do it, it doesn't get done. And like most of the time, it doesn't get done. So I'm doing all the work anyway. So it's like, okay, from my perspective, 16K, like if I'm going to invest something like that, like I want a lot of help with it to where I'm, you know, not doing all the work.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would like to see, you know, maybe some more tangibles of like, and like the pathway, like you guys are saying, like, okay, how does it actually work? How does the business work to get me to where I want to be?
Sure. So yeah, a couple thoughts. So the first thing is you have way more money than most people. I mean, I'm actually surprised you're afraid to put down 16K because you got 50. When I started my business, I had 2,000. So I mean, I was way more scared than you probably were because like I get you have a family, but it's like 50K is like that's a good chunk. Um, the business coaching world, like if you want someone to help you make 100,000 a year, I mean, for the amount of help you want, 2 to 5K, I mean, that ain't gonna cut it, because you're asking for, hey, change my entire life for $2,000. It's like, that doesn't even align. It's like you want your wife on the first date. Like, it's not happening, bro. Like, you probably date a few girls to find your wife, I'm assuming. So the first thing is just like making sure that you're aligned with what you want. If someone came to you and said, hey, you can put in 16,000 in the stock market and you'll make 200,000, you'd do that all day. Right. But here you're like, oh, that seems a little much. I think you got to make sure your expectations are aligned with the destiny you want. So that's number one. No, number two is if you stay doing what you're doing, you have 100% chance of staying stuck. So I know you need to do something. So I think you got to make that decision, like if you're going to do it. Earlier, you said it was just the money. It doesn't really sound like it's just the money to me. You still sound uncertain. So what I'm trying to do right now is like, what do you need to hear? Or what do you need to see? Or what do you need to hear to feel 100% certain that this is the right program so we can get it done? Because if not, like, we'll wrap the call up. But you don't sound very certain, but it's like, what do you want to see, or what do you want to hear? So you would be like, oh, I feel certain this could work for me, because it worked for me. That's why I'm selling it. Like, I do the same processes that got you on this call, same processes we're going to teach you. So it works because you're here, but it's just, you probably don't know all the stuff that goes into it. You don't know what to say, how to set it up, et cetera, et cetera. So is there anything we could say that will make you certain, or like what would make you certain, if anything?
Well, I mean, the certainty for 16K, I just don't think that's going to happen. But certainty of like, two parts. So one, again, like the day to day, like what is it? What are the tangible tasks that I'm going to be doing, other than the messenger DMs? And how can I get it to where I'm not, you talked about earlier, the fulfillment piece of like, making it so easy to where it doesn't take, a lot of time to do it. So that's one aspect of it. The next aspect of it is, I just lost my train of thought.
Oh, you're good. You said messenger DMs, fulfillment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like again, the day to day, like fulfillment. What does it look like? The other aspect is like what you just said. Like, hey, if somebody asked me to invest, 16K, I'm gonna make 200. Like, yeah, it's a no brainer because you're gonna make that. But it's like, again, you never know. You never know if you're actually going to make that. The money could just be a wash.
Well, okay, so a couple things. So like you're kind of sound like, to me, it's like day to day, and then you want some type of guarantee, correct?
Yeah, I know nothing's guaranteed. So like I know like you can't 100% make that commitment.
I mean, I could definitely make a performance guarantee, of course. But you have to do some things, yeah. But I could definitely throw in a performance guarantee. I just want to know, like, if that will make you feel comfortable. I don't know how you think. So it's like, is that what would make you feel comfortable, or
what is exactly is the performance guarantee?
Yeah, I mean, the performance guarantee is just you have X amount of messages, X amount of sales calls, you post X amount of content, you have X amount of meetings with your coach. It's numbers that we put in the agreement. That's like black and white. So it's like, you do these minimums. If you don't hit your goal, we'll refund you. But it's like, you have to hit the minimums. The thing for you, though, that's just perplexing for me, is like, you said for a fact, like, if you don't change, like, your life isn't going to improve. So you have to do it. Like, you have to do it. It's only if you should do this. And that's what I'm trying to make sure I'm clear with you. Like, I can walk you through the day to day and the fulfillment, all that stuff, but you're going to still feel fear because it's a lot of money. Even I asked you earlier, if we figure the money out, you might be in, but then you kind of backtracked on that with this stuff. So I'm here to help you, just so you know. Like, I'm here to help. I hop on this call to help. So I can walk you through whatever you want, but the desire to like change has to be there, and it's not going to be a cakewalk. It's going to take a little sacrifice. And if you're not willing to sacrifice anything, I wouldn't run your business and take a cut when I can run my business for 100% and make all of it. Like, you're going to have to put in a little bit of work, a little elbow grease.
Oh yeah.
So
I was gonna say, yeah, no, I definitely know it's gonna take some work. But like I said, I have my other job in the fitness industry too, which
right.
If I were to do something like this, it would probably mean that, I would be doing this under the radar and then trying to make it a full-time gig because it's a conflict of interest, right? I'm doing this, but it's like, oh, well, you should be actually trying to build up our gym too. So that's why it's an even bigger risk, right? Because then it's like, okay, I have to quit my other job in the fitness.
Let's just make a black and white decision on this. Like being fully transparent. If you're still doing the same job in 2 years, are you going to be okay with that? Like genuinely, like I'm not being a smart ass, I'm being like for real.
If I'm making more money, but I don't know if that will happen. It could happen.
Okay. And how would you make more money? Like more clients?
We have ambitions to open up another location, but our adult fitness program has been pretty stagnant right now at this location.
So yeah, so you have a leads and marketing issue. So unless you learn how to market and get leads, that's not going to improve. I'm just being transparent with you. So whether you do that or you do this, you need to learn how to market and get leads. That's what we do. That's what my company does. Like we're the best in the biz. Like we know how to get leads. So like, let me walk you through like hypothetical. You got two options before you. And dude, again, I get you have a family. So I'm just like, again, I'm here to help. There's no time rush. Like I'm here to help you. So option one is like, let's say you stay with your job with your family. You'll always make just enough to get by. There's nothing wrong with that type of life, but you have to be okay with that life. This is your life. You only got one shot. No one really cares. No one's going to remember you. I mean, I go through these thoughts all the time. So it's like, are you okay to just get enough to get by? If you are, I would recommend not doing this, like genuinely. If you're in a position where you're like, I need to make more, then you just have to walk through how you're going to do that. So this is what I would do if I was you. You're working 40 hours a week. Okay, so this is what I would do. I don't know how your weekends work with your family, but like hypothetical. So if you're doing 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, I would come home after that, and let's just say 2 hours. 2 hours is like the bare minimum. Okay, so you come home, you do 2 hours of work, Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday, how much work could you do? Ideally, like hours wise.
Well, at least one of those days is pretty much consumed with my current online clients.
Okay.
So I would say I would keep it similar to where it's maybe like 2 hours or something on a Saturday or Sunday.
Okay. So let's say for the week you got, I'll break it down for you so you can make a decision because like I'll walk you through it. Okay. So 10 hours, Monday through Friday, Saturday, 12, Sunday, 2. So 14. Okay. So let me walk you through a hypothetical scenario. You go to work, you go full time. Make sure you're going to bed on time, all that. You got to make sure you're sleeping. Like if you're not rested, like good luck. So you're super rested, you go to work, you do your best. You come home, you take a small break. You go to work. Here's what I would suggest you do. Now, there's going to be really just a couple of things you're going to do. Okay. You're going to post one piece of content a day. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, just one piece. Okay. I'll take you, I don't know. You could do that while you're sitting on the toilet, write it, whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay. So that takes you basically no time. So content, one piece. Okay. So I'm going to show you what a day looks like. One piece. That's basically instantaneous. You can write it whenever. So I'm just going to assume in the 8 hours you're at work, there's some amount of break where you could do it, or you could do it on the John, whatever. Okay. If you can't, we'll mark that in, but like, I'm assuming it won't take that long. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Okay. Content's not the most important part. Second thing then is we're going to get all the low hanging fruit. So we're going to teach you different types of posts to generate your first calls. Okay. So that's just like, can we get 1 to 3 sales just from that? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Depends on your amount of leads and followers, stuff like that. Let's just assume you can't, because like you're looking at what's my worst case scenario. Boom. Okay. Third thing is then you're going to be having conversations. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a breakdown of this. This is the easiest part of building the business. Why? Because it takes the most time and it's the least effective, but you have no cash and you don't know how to do ads. And we can't start running ads because if you start running ads and you have that 50K and you blow it, you're really right. Losing 50 would be way worse than 16. So you have to start having conversations. So let me break down the math for you. In an hour, you can typically start 20 combos. And this is like, if you have no followers, no comments, like you're basically a ghost. 20 combos an hour. We'll show you how to do it, what to say, all that type of stuff. templates. We give you all that. Okay. So that's 2 hours. So that's 40 combos a day. Let's do that times 7. So if we do 40 combos, again, because I just want to make sure you like see the full picture. That's 280 combos a week. Okay. Now on average, 30 people respond out of 100. Okay. So let's say you get about 80 people who respond. Out of every 30 people who respond, if you're following the process, you will get 5 book calls. Okay. So 15 book calls. Okay. Remember, this is high ticket. We don't need a lot. Okay. 15 book calls. You're supposed to close at 30%. Okay. So, which is trash for fitness because we're going to teach you how to sell properly, how to downsell, how to price drop. There's like, I've done a ton of sales. You obviously have a sales background, but I mean, I've been doing this since I was born, dude. I don't know. It's like in my blood. So 15 book calls. Let's say you close 5. Okay. Let's say you're super like, you're like, Tanner, I can't sell $3,000. It's too hard, which I don't believe you, but let's say you could. So let's just do 1,500. So 1,500 times 5. Okay. 15, 3, 6, that's $7,500. So like, if you can do that, then you take a little of that cash, a little bit goes to us, a little bit goes to your ads. Now here's how ads work. So here's where it gets fun. So you run ads. Let's say you take $1,000 for ads. You get 100 leads for $10 a pop. Okay. 100 times 10 is 1,000. Out of 100 leads, you will usually get 10 booked calls if you're trash. Okay. Same process. You close 30%. Let's say you close 3 at 1,500, which is not a lot. Okay. That's $4,500. You made $3,500 of profit. You do that process until you're making however much you want to make. And that's how it becomes automatic. So that's genuinely how a day-to-day looks. Now, if you hear that and you're like, hey, that sounds good, but I'm still a little scared with the money, then what we either do is we figure out a custom solution for you, right? Because like, I'm in the business of helping people, bro. Like, I don't need any more money. I'm good. Like, I don't even need to be here. I'm genuinely here for you, for real. So we either figure out a custom solution or we throw in the performance guarantee, or we do both so you feel comfortable to move forward. All I know from my experience is if you do nothing and you don't move forward, like you're going to be where you're at. And I'm not saying that's a bad life, but that's your decision. That's everything laid out. And then from here, if it's a payment thing, I'm happy to talk to you through it. If it's a scared thing and it's just, you need the performance guarantee, it's great. And then if after hearing that, you feel the same, like we'll wrap up, but, you can do it and you have the skills. It will be a sacrifice. It will take effort. You're going to struggle. I mean, you're going to go from 8 hours a day of work to 10 or 12. Yeah. Your life will be worse for a little bit, but the only way out is the way I'm telling you. And that's how I got out. And that's the only reason I'm so convicted is because if there was a better way to do it, I'd tell you, bro, like that's what it's going to take. So anyways, you let me know what you want to do, but I'm here for you, man. And like, I want to help you if you want help. And if you don't, like, that's okay. I generally hope that hit where it's supposed to. So.
No, I appreciate that. That was good. Kind of like laying out the daily grind to grind, kind of what that would look like. From my standpoint, like you're only going after people who are, have money and can pay that high ticket offer. For me starting off, since I'm not going to be doing ads, what if I don't have followers that have that type of money?
Doesn't matter. That's what I was trying to tell you. So I actually have a YouTube video too. I'll send you for like homework. But when I started my fitness company, I had no social media and or very limited social media. I didn't post for a year. So part of like what we teach you in the program is how to go out and find those people who will pay you those amounts. That's because that's half the battle. If those, like, think about it. If you had 100 people every day who you talk to about your service, some of them would buy, right? Like, yeah, of course. So it's just a lot of people that goes over their heads because they overcomplicate it. But that's part of what we teach you is like, where do you find those people on Instagram? Where do you find those people on Facebook? And then it's a numbers game, bro, to start. And that's the biggest part of the business. The biggest part of the business is the day you swipe the credit card. Once you make a few sales, the worst days are behind you. But you have to start from somewhere. And there's only 2 ways to start a business: bootstrapped, which is what you're doing, or VC capital.
What is bootstrap?
Bootstrap means like start from zero, like bolts and nuts, like I mean, you're coming in on your own dime, you're paying for everything. It's your dollar, that stuff. Yeah.
For me, like what I'm looking at, what I think, and you guys tell me if this is doable, is like, hey, for the first month, I'm thinking like 2 grand. And if it does well the next month, I'll give you, another 2 grand. And then if it, just kind of go from there. In other words, like I'll it's not just 2 grand. Like I'll pay it, but I got to see some fruits from my labor first. So like that, that would be kind of like the 2 grand one month deposit. Let me start hustling. Let me do the work. And like, if it's gonna come to fruition, like you're saying, hey, maybe I'll close 3 to 5 people, and I've doubled that money back already. Okay, this is gonna work. Now let's get serious.
Okay. So just so I'm clear, what you're looking for on your end is like proof of concept. Okay. So to me, what it sounds like is like, I don't even think the 16K is the biggest issue. I think the biggest issue is you're like, you want to get your feet wet, see if it works. If it works, then you're kind of fine to go from there. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I would say that's accurate. And it's like, also it's another point I just thought of. It's like, okay, if it's 16, how long is it going to take for me to make that back? If it's, 3 months, that's done. That's a no brainer, right? Like, let's go for it. If it's 3 years, like I said, I've gained.
Realistically, how good are you at sales? Like 1 to 10. 10 is like you're the best in the game. 1 is you're absolutely garbage. Like, how good do you actually think you are?
Not good. Well, I say that my forte is not sales. It is the fulfillment. It is the exercise science. Now, pretty much every person I've had for online, I would say 99% I've closed. But I'm not selling $5,000 packages either.
It's a little cheaper,
right? Okay. Right. Yeah. And most people that come to me or even come to our business, our gym business, they already have an interest. They have an interest. So it's not terrible to close them.
Yeah. So yeah, the reason I ask is like the numbers I'm giving you and stuff, part of it's going to depend on how good you are at sales. So like if we go back to the numbers I put in the chat, yeah. So let's just say in a week, like you only close, let's say you only close 1. Like I think based off the numbers, you should be able to close 3 to 5. But let's just say you close 1, and let's say you only sell it at 1,500, and let's say you only get half down, typically. So if you did that in a month, say you did 750, 750, 750. So it's about, let's say it's like 2,500 a month. Like worst case scenario, like, and I'm talking like, I think that is, if you can only get 1 a week doing those numbers, you're pretty trash. Like you're very bad. Even at 16K, you're looking at like 8 months, but that's like, if you're doing part-time for 8 months and you're trash and you never improve. I think realistically, that's why we do 4 months. Cause like, that's what we would expect is like, it doesn't take you past 4 months. But it's neither here nor there. I think like ultimately for you to feel comfortable to come in, you're looking for like dip my toes in the water. If it goes well, I pay more, right? Yeah. Okay. So here, let me know if you can meet me on this. Here's what I would say. So typically if we do a $16,000 program for 4 months, I'm just writing stuff down, the best payment plan we can do is 4K a month. Here's what I would propose. If you can meet me in the middle today and you pay 4 grand, what I'll do is you only have to pay another payment every time you get 2 clients. Because realistically, I think you could sell it at 3 grand. So realistically, if you're getting clients, you're going to want to stay in the program, to your point. Okay. So what I would recommend is you pay 4K, you show us goodwill, good faith, you give us a month. You only will pay us until you get 2 clients. And then what I'll do is we'll work with you until you at least get 2 clients. So meaning you don't have to pay us anything else until you get 2 clients. Once you get 2 clients, we'll have a conversation. Not saying you have to pay us another 4K, but you're like, hey, give us a little more. Give us a little more. We help you get 2 more clients. Give us a little more. You give us 2 more clients. Once you have about 8 to 10 clients, I think it's like, you should pay us off. I think that's fair. But then that way, you're only making a $4,000 commitment instead of 16. And then if we don't help you get results, then you're good. And you don't lose anything else. I think that is the fairest deal. I think that would make you feel comfortable. I think that would make me feel comfortable. And then we work with you till you get 2 clients. So if it takes you more time or you're stressed out or your baby starts screaming at midnight and you don't sleep the night before, you don't have to stress out about getting it done in 30 days.
Okay. So, I mean, that definitely sounds more doable. So, but you said earlier, some of them may only pay 1,500. So if I get 2, that comes out to 3,000. So,
well, yeah, but we'll talk to you. All I'm saying is like, if you get 2 sales and you're like, hey, bro, these were lower payments, we're like, cool, what can you give us? You're like, I'll give you another grand or I'll give you another 1,500. Like, I'm not trying to like ruin your life. Like, I just want to make sure it's fair. So to me, it's like, hey, if every time you get 2 clients, we have a conversation, you pay us a little more, great. And I think, and then we keep that same routine. And then that will make it so you're not like super restricted on time. My team can still fulfill for you. And then we're making sure that you're getting progress. And then everybody wins. That's what I would recommend. And then, I mean, dude, once you're in too, it's like, we're here to help you. Like, we want you to win. Like, I don't make money if you don't win. That's how I make a living. Like, you have to win. But yeah, that's what I would say is like, if you can swipe the card today, I'll put that stuff in the agreement. You only pay us more if you get, after you get at least 2 clients. We work with you until you get 2 clients. And then we just rinse and repeat that process. And then at any point, if you're genuinely like get 2 clients, you're like, I don't want to work with you anymore, which, I'd be like, okay, then you don't necessarily have to. But the only way I see you getting in based on my convo and my experience with sales is like, you need a customized deal. And this is like what I think would make sense. Because otherwise you're not going to do it. And then you're not going to improve.
I hear you. All right. I like it. So I think that's something that I could do, like an upfront of 4 to kind of see how it goes. Okay. Now, with every decision I make, I have to ask my wife first. She makes more money than I do. So she gets home tonight around 5. As soon as she gets home, I'm going to have that conversation with her. But I definitely like the 4 starting out, and it's a little more guaranteed than paying this 16 all up front.
Okay. So, and dude, appreciate the transparency, appreciate you talking to me. Like, it drives me nuts when I just can't have an open convo with someone, because then it's a nightmare. So what I'd ask you to do in this situation, I definitely want you to talk to your wife. So I'm not saying I don't want you to talk to her. Let me know if you can meet me on this. What I would prefer we do is, in a situation where I kind of customize the plan, like you just saw, I get a refundable deposit. Okay. It's usually 10%. What that does is you go talk to your wife, you let her know, hey, here's what I want to do. If she's like, hey, I don't want you to make more money and I don't want you to work with Tanner. I don't want you to improve your life. I send it back. No questions asked. If you do like it, then we move forward. All that does for me is like, because I worked out a good deal for you, it just makes me know that you're going to come back. We don't have to chase you. So as soon as it goes through, I leave you alone. You come back later today, let me know. If it genuinely doesn't work, send it back. If it does work, then I'll honor that payment. Would that be okay for you to do?
Yep. Sounds like a plan.
Okay, cool. So yeah, just grab your card, and then whenever you're ready, let me know and we'll type that in. We'll wrap up.
Okay. Give me like 1 minute.
You're good, man. No worries. All right. You actually have a baby, so best excuse I've ever seen. Appreciate you meeting me halfway, dude. You're the man. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you guys for the time.
Later, Brandon.
Of course. Goodbye.